Hello everyone, welcome to another Drang video, and first I'd like to give a thanks to Cascade Moto Classics in Beaverton, Oregon for loaning me bikes and for letting me basically use their showroom floor to film the show. Today we're going to be looking at the 2019 Street Twin, talking about the differences between the new one versus the 2018. Alright, so the first thing that is big news about the 2019 Street Twin is going to be an up in power. That's at 18%, which is 10 horsepower. So now we're talking about 65 brake horsepower and the same 59 foot-pounds of torque that was on the previous model. Now, just in case anyone's curious, the up in power is not an increase in bore size. It is actually some engine magic within probably some cam profiling, lightening of parts and such like that. It does have a higher rev limit now, so that's going to help with that. All right, getting into the suspension, there's another big change on our front forks. Now, it may be hard to tell in the video, but we now have cartridge upgraded front forks, which was not on the 18. And we also have a big upgrade to the brakes. So now we have a Brembo 4-pot front brake as opposed to the older 2-pot unlabeled front brake. So that's quite a big upgrade. Let's get into the fit and finish aspects of the bikes. Now, they have different paint jobs, so bear with me. You can get the matte finish on the 19. It does have a slight change in cost for that, I think, but we're looking at the shiny black and the matte black on the 18. So fit and finish wise, really some nice nuance changes have happened here, and you can see just from looking at it, the Street Twin logo looks different. The Triumph badging's been just sort of polished up a bit as compared to the 18. And there's a couple of other things. On the headlight, you'll see this is now a black ring instead of silver. It makes everything look a little more sleek, I think. And one big thing of note is the components around the light. This is actually brushed aluminum, and on the older models it was a hardened plastic. So that's kind of a nice change. It's all metal. I noticed on the handlebars, looking at it this way, we have a brushed aluminum face with the Triumph badge and a more forged or cast aluminum on this. So it is a little more polished on the 19. And as well as the front with the getting rid of the silver, we also have some nice black outlying plastic on the outside of the cluster. And now we have the nice Bonneville logo affixed at the top. Looks really good. Just to show you, the 19 does not have that. So one more thing. One more trim note about this bike. Notice that the 19 has a different rim versus the 18. I think it looks really cool in the 19. It's got these sort of brushed aluminum inner parts. Both look good. I think the 19 looks really cool though. Now lastly, in looking at the seats, they do have a different seat style for 19. I'll get into comfort in a little bit, but in looking at it, the new seat has more foam. It's an upgraded foam, and it has a different style. This seat is more like in line with the older Scrambler model seats, so with the textured seat area part, and as opposed to this where it's the same material throughout. All right, so one of the biggest things I think would compel me to go with the 19 is actually going to be the addition of the ride modes, which is this button right here. With this bike, just like the 18, it has traction control. It can be adjusted with the mode button right here, which is a big change. And I'll show you, if you hit the button, we can go between road and rain. And that's kind of nice. So you get multiple levels of traction control. On the 18, it can be on or off. And on this bike, it can be rain, road, or off. So you do get a little more versatility and a little more safety factor potentially. While we're sitting here, another thing that's really neat about this bike, it has a tachometer. That's a big change. It is a digital tach, but the 18 does not have a tach, and I like having one, so that's quite a big change. Now, just to give you the perspective on an 18, it's going to be largely similar. When we turn the key on, you're going to get a similar display. You have your info button here. You're going to notice you don't have a mode button. We can cycle through different types of basic information. It does give us a fuel gauge, which is nice. You can get mileage, things like that, trip odometers, clocks, things like that. So no tachometer on the 18. Okay, so next I want to fire these bad boys up because interestingly, you know, the engine and pipes look very similar, but one thing I noticed was that our 19 here gives us really nice meaty sound, and the 18 sounds, I always liked the sound of the parallel twin of the Triumph, but see if you guys can hear the difference. So we're going to start up the 18 first. Get down here where you can hear. And we'll start the 19. And just so you can see the RPMs, okay, so like I said, I don't know if it comes through the camera audio very well, but there's a little more grunt to the 19. Okay, I want to touch a little more on the seat. Now, I haven't ridden these bikes, but what I can tell you is that there is denser foam and more foam on the 19, and it's a little firmer, which means it's good for a long trip. It's better than having an overly cushy seat. And many of the, as I've been told, many of the aftermarket seats that are for grand touring are actually harder than what factory seats. That's another video. Anyways, the point is, nicer seat on the 19. Price-wise on these two awesome bikes. Well, you know, the 18 is still an awesome bike, and you can get one at a great deal, as usually is with sort of year-end clearances and things. So, you know, you should consider the 18 absolutely. Now, the 18 we're looking at has the matte black paint job. That's a $200 roundabout premium. The standard paint job is the jet black. So we can't really compare these equally, but if this 18 were a jet black, the price difference between an 18 brand new and a 19 would be about $200. So $9,100 for a jet black, if this were a jet black, and $9,300 for the jet black 19. So, you know, a couple $100 difference, not a huge deal, but if you want the matte black on the 19, that'll be, you know, another $200, so we're talking about $95 to $95.50. So still good prices, you know, but that's where you're going to be coming in. All right, so one more thing to note here with these bikes is that once you buy the bike, you have a lot of options for accessorizing from Triumph factory. From what I've read, it's over 140 different customizable options. And to give you sort of a view of that, you can see on the wall back there, there's a lot here, from shocks to bars to pegs to saddlebags, tank bags, really neat stuff that you can put on these. They look great like they are, and you can sort of take it and do whatever you want with it from there. All right, so let's do some summary of thought with regard to the Street Twin. Should you go ahead and buy the 2019 or 2018? Well, I think both are great bikes, and I don't think either one of them budget's going to be the main issue. If you get the 18, I think you get a little cash back. You could buy a jacket and a helmet or something like that. So you could get some gear on the side or an accessory for the bike or two. The 2019 does have a little more power, and that's pretty attractive. If it were me, for a couple $100 more, I'd probably go with the 19. The bigger front brakes, the better front forks, those are some pretty nice upgrades. So I'll leave it up to you guys, because sometimes you can also figure out some other good deals with last year's stock. So anyways, guys, this is Drang. Please like and subscribe. I'll be up with any updates. As soon as bikes come into the shop, I'll be reviewing them. So with that said, have a good one.